back, everyone. Thank you so much, Fantastic Plus. Parents, go check it out. It cracks me up. We were talking about murders. The other day, we were talking about, we were talking with a guy who survived 9/11, and then we cut to the commercial break. It's like, welcome to the wonderful world. Fantastic was like a kid's app. And, anyway, go download the app. Ruth, we're back. Thank you so much for waiting. I would like to ask more about your a normal working day. How does it look like for you? How, you have a set amount of pages that you need to write, or a certain amount of hours that you write per day, and then after that, like, just walk us through it.
Oh, good question. Well, I work full time at the university. When I get off work, I do try and get about 200 to 300 pages written each day. But I do have set deadlines for myself. And my editor, she's really good at letting me know when she needs those pages done. So that keeps me on task. And then with my coloring book as well, I have to have a certain number of drawings done. So I try and write every single day, or at least, do something about writing, whether it's recording a podcast about, talking with an author about writing, or like talking with you about writing, or, outlining a story, brainstorming a story. I try and do something about writing every single day. But yeah, I do have to get some pages done every single day. Otherwise I'll be late with the book.
Did you say 200 to 300?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say pages? I meant words. Sorry.
Oh.
No pages, words. Whew, that would be hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I was questioning myself. Maybe I misheard it, but 200 pages, like, maybe with AI. I don't know. Is that part of your process?
No, if I could get 1,000 words a day, that would be ideal. But no, I just use AI as a tool. It's really good for brainstorming. Like right now in December, I have to brainstorm my next suspense novel. So I will ask AI for some ideas to help me outline the story. I know what it looks like inside my head, but I need to get it down and organized. And so AI is a great writing tool for that. It's really good at coming up with ideas for, character names and settings for your story, things like that. Conflict, if you have no idea how to add conflict to your story, ask AI to do it for you. Things like that. But I don't use it to write books. It's not a very good tool for that.
Why would you say that?
Oh, it's funny. My son has just an experiment. He asked AI to write a book, a romance, 60,000 words, and bling, it came up with it. And he was reading through it and he said, oh my gosh, it was awful. It was so corny and sappy. And AI didn't know how to transition from one thought to the next. It didn't know how to go from one chapter to the next. It was just choppy, choppy, choppy. And there was no emotion because it's just a machine, and it's just grabbing things from existing books out there and just putting it in. So it needs a human being to help it add that emotion, add that structure in a way that makes sense. So yeah, if authors are out there just creating books in ChatGPT or other AI tools, it's going to look like it because it's just a machine. It can't understand romance and suspense and all that stuff. It'll just pull from what's out there already.
Okay, so it doesn't remember the context of what it's talking about.
Yeah, it just does what you can tell it to do. You're training it. So and I have author friends who use it and they'll say, write this scene in my style, my tone, my voice, with romantic voice, blended in there and blah, blah, blah. But for me, I would rather just write the scene myself than go through all that trouble telling ChatGPT what to do.
I see. Yeah, I read recently that there's a simple way of identifying any text from ChatGPT. It's like the dumbest thing ever. Apparently, ChatGPT is always using those long, I think it's hyphen, the correct term?
M dash.
Like, yeah. Basically no one used that in real life. But no. ChatGPT is spitting them right and left, like, doesn't.
I know.
It looks nice, but like no one writes like that,
Yeah, they doesn't understand that a comma works just as well, or just, some sort of a pause. They do that a lot with ellipses as well. It uses a lot of ellipses. So yeah, it uses a lot of adjectives and adverbs too. So you can kind of tell when someone's writing with ChatGPT. It just, adds all these descriptions to words, the forest, the clean, bright, sunshiny forest. It's like you said, nobody talks like that. Nobody describes the forest like that.
When it comes to music, though, I've started listening to a couple of songs on YouTube that came out, let's say, 1 to 2 weeks ago, and I would say they're doing a pretty good job mimicking real life style music styles. Have you heard about any of that?
Yes, a
Yeah.
friend of mine shared. Do you remember when Charlie Kirk in America
Yeah.
died? He was assassinated. A friend posted a song by Lady Gaga that she wrote for Charlie Kirk, and he played it. And I said to my friend, "That's not Lady Gaga. That's you've been fooled. Somebody told you it was Lady Gaga, but it was AI." And then someone said that about Taylor Swift. She wrote a song for Charlie Kirk, and I was like, "No, folks, this is AI stealing their voice." So yeah, some of them sound very similar to the artists who are out there. So it's tricky. It's kind of scary.
It's kind of scary. Yeah, 50 Cent, he started claiming some of those music videos that people have been releasing of his voice. So that's one thing that I think is very nice. A lot of countries are empowering artists, allowing them to like trademark their voice, their image, maybe even in the future their writing styles. Who knows? I think Denmark Denmark, I think, guys, I'm probably mistaken. But I think it's Denmark. Now, if you're an actor, you're allowed to sue if any movie or anyone who's using your images, like because AI actors is also a thing now. They're using the face swaps, right?
Mhm.
And I think if you ask me, that's the way to go. You need to empower the artists, allow them to claim ownership over their art, and that's the only way I see this like, art is still being a thing in the future. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I completely agree. Do you remember Napster when Napster came out a gazillion
Could
years
you could
ago?
you remind the audience? I think a lot of them don't.
Yeah, around the year 2000, Napster came out, and it was a way of downloading music for free. You could just subscribe and get all these songs and download them. Well, the artists who wrote and released those songs were not getting paid. And so they're saying, you can't do that. You have to pay us. And so Napster went away for that reason. And Spotify came out, and iHeartRadio and Pandora. All these music apps came out where you could download music, but the artists got paid per download. They were getting paid. So that made it more fair. So maybe they could do something like that where these studios could use their songs and their faces, but they would have to pay the artist for that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When it comes to writing style, is I think that's a little bit harder to detect, right? Because when you have a face, it's like it's there. It's on your face basically. But do you think it's possible for writing as well somehow?
It should be, because there are authors out there who are saying to ChatGPT, write my suspense novel in the style of James Patterson, or write my horror novel in the style of Stephen King. And it will. And so that's, plagiarism, that's copyright infringement. So it's very dangerous. So maybe Stephen King and James Patterson, all those big time authors could get together and do something like that, make it to where you can use this platform that has our style, but you have to pay. You have to pay per download that you do. So that's probably in our future. I would think with all the lawsuits that are pending, there's about 40 AI lawsuits pending. I interviewed a copyright lawyer about it, and that's what he said. He said there's so many cases pending in the courts right now that when those judges rule, it's going to change those AI tools significantly. There's going to be a lot of changes coming. So
That makes sense. I think
yeah.
that will be welcome because right now it's kind of wild. Basically,
Yeah.
anyone can do whatever they want.
Yeah. So if there's coders out there who are listening and you are really good at this, you might want to create that platform for these artists and authors and musicians, and approach them and say, hey, let's combine and provide something like Spotify or iHeartRadio, where your face, your work can be downloaded, but you get money for it. So
I remember Midjourney. Not sure if you're
yeah,
familiar with Midjourney. Yeah. When it came out a few years ago, there was this guy called Greg. What was his name? It's a famous artist. Let me, guys. I don't want to spread
yeah, I
artist
forget.
Greg Midjourney. I don't want to spread misinformation. So
Sure, sure.
there we go. Greg Rutkovsky. That's the guy. And apparently he just contact them and say, hey, everyone's just typing whatever they want and then dash dash style my name. They are just that's just plagiarism. Like,
Yeah,
remove my name right away, and I think they did. So it's basically what you said. Like, those artists, they need to make sure that their names are not part of the input process. Like, you're not allowed to, if you try to put Stephen King when you're trying to write a novel, like, they just no, like, you're not allowed.
yeah, that would be ideal if the artist could be alerted. And I know with Midjourney, they were sued because they were allowing, folks like you and me to do that, right? Create it in the style of Disney, create it in the style of this movie, this studio. And boy, Disney was on top of that right away and filed all these lawsuits. So that stopped. But I was seeing it on Instagram probably about 2 years ago. I started seeing all these posts, these AI posts of Disney stuff, Disney characters, Mickey Mouse all over the place. And I remember thinking, how are they doing that? How are they getting away with that? Well, guess what? They weren't getting away with it. They were getting in big trouble. So Disney was right on top of it.
Ruth, you also lead workshops, am I right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, I do.
are those writing workshops?
Yes, I have led workshops about how to brainstorm world building. If you write fantasy, how to create your world for your book. That's been fun. And that can be for a fantasy, a dystopia, or even a contemporary novel. World building is a skill. So I've done workshops on that. I did a workshop on book cover design for a lot of authors who are either hiring designers or they want to be designers. So we got together for a workshop on what makes a cover effective or ineffective. And we looked at some ineffective ones today. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. We did a workshop on that. And then I just met with some authors over the weekend about podcasting, how authors can use a podcast